Call to order the Board of Grant County Commissioners regular meeting of March 13th, 2014. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among the united cultures.
First item on the agenda is to approve the meeting agenda. Does there need to be any changes, Mr. Sawyer?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the regular meeting agenda. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Public input. During this portion of our meeting, we welcome your suggestions and we want to hear your concerns. This is not a question and answer period. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Any individual who would like to discuss an item in more depth may request to be placed on a future agenda. Request forms are available in the county manager's office. So at this time, the commission will stand for public input. Is there any public input this morning? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward, state your name. I believe the microphone is on. Is there a red light there?
Can you hear me okay?
Go ahead and press the white button.
All right, how's that? Okay, I'm Teresa Beal, and I'd like to address the issue of the blinking light installation on Cottage Sand Road. Some of you have already heard of a couple of the public having concerns about this, and so the concerned citizens along Cottage Sands Road would like to have a meeting with all parties who are involved in the placement of the lights put in about a week ago, located approximately 1 mile from 180 on Cottage Sand Road. And the organizations that seem to be involved are Grant County Road Manager, Grant County Commissioners, County Manager, New Mexico Department of Transportation, and the Southwest New Mexico Council of Governments. The meeting would include discussion of the necessity of having lights anywhere on Cottage Sand Road. What research is there to indicate that lights are needed? And who is involved in this, instigating this process? And we'd also like to discuss the light's impact on the nearby residents. Also, the discussion would include the property values of those whose property is affected by the lights. And it would also include the legal process of placing the lights off of the prescriptive easement of the road and onto private property, which they are now, where they now stand. And also the possibility of the county obtaining legal easement across private property to straighten the road out so that it runs on the other side of Silver Creek. And 2 of the property owners are willing to offer this legal easement to the county. And so perhaps the county would consider further discussion on this, and I will fill out a form and have this put on the future agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further public input? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward. State your name for the record.
That's not hard.
I'm Gail Kinter, and I'm here about the lights on Cottage Sand Road. I grew up here. My grandmother lived out there. I've been driving that road 54 years, well, with my parents. And there's been a few wrecks there, but the only wrecks are usually people that are speeding, drunk or high, or if the road's wet or slick. There were 6 arrows put up. There's a sign there that says, with an arrow showing a turn, suggested 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, and I feel the lights are just overkill, and would also like to see a meeting on this and the lights taken down.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
My name is Larry Zimmerman. Thank you for hearing me this morning. This is just a bit of an addendum to the 2 previous speakers regarding the lights on Cottage Sand Road. My driveway is right on the curve in question where the lights are placed, and since 1985, when I moved there, I've been watching the traffic patterns there, and I feel that there's probably a much better approach to slowing traffic down on this curve, which would be some consistent intermittent enforcement, something with a bit of teeth in it. I know people have their routines coming and going to work, and they sort of get lulled into a hypnotic drive, thinking about other things. But by virtue of having a couple of tickets myself on Cottage Sand Road, my habits have changed, and I think others can too. The lights also are very offensive to Mr. Ron Swap, who is my immediate neighbor to the south. The tubes of those lights face directly into his front door, the front of his house, and as they flash throughout the night, I'm sure he's very legitimately concerned about the placement of them. The other issue I have is that I feel there could be some safety improvements in terms of widening the shoulders of that road, perhaps getting a bike lane. And one thing I would like to discuss at this meeting, assuming we get it arranged, is that since 1985, I've watched the ditch bank on Silver Creek there erode slowly and surely, and I think it's a couple more floods and we're going to lose a roadway. Gentlemen, I think this really is a place where some money could be spent in a very good way on Cottage Sand Road. The ditch banks are collapsing, and the measures that were used previously are just tumbling into the stream bed. So I would welcome an opportunity to discuss this further. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I saw another hand. Yes, please come forward.
Good morning. My name is John Kavchar. I live on Cottage Sand Road. I have the place with the rock wall and the rock barn, and the light. The light that affects me the most is the one that was placed right next to the barn. And I'd like to thank John Sari and Earl Moore for being so, and Ron Hall too, for being so responsive to my concerns about that. The light was put up without any input from me. When I learned about it, I got a hold of John and Ron and Earl promptly, and I agreed that it would be okay with me to put the light up last Friday just as a trial basis. I was concerned about the light being so bright that it would light up the tunnel of trees and the road. It's dark out there. It would affect not only me as I sat in my living room, but my neighbors as well, seeing the tunnel of flashing light through the tunnel of trees. So anyhow, John and Earl have been very responsive in agreeing to take the light down. It's up now temporarily until it gets moved. My understanding is that the next placement for the light is going to be further out of town, between where Cottage Sand crosses Silver Creek and Archer Road, and on the other side, closer to Manganese Street. And in both those locations, the county's going to have the same problem that they had with me and Dr. Zimmerman, that it's going to affect them and it's going to decrease their property values, and they're really not needed. The problem on Cottage Sand Road at that turn isn't the fact that the turn is there; it's the fact that people are speeding. So I think a better way to affect that turn is to put up different signage. I think more signs along Cottage Sand Road reminding people that the speed limit is 30 would be a good idea, as well as better signage showing that turn at Cottage Sand Road is sharp and not just a curve. The lights were funded by the state. My understanding is that it's 100% funded by the state. I don't think the lights are needed anywhere on Cottage Sand Road, and personally I think the lights could be given back to the state, and a more effective place for them would be on Highway 180 at Alabama Street. When I go through that intersection, it's a tough intersection, and as you know, there was a fatality there within the last couple of years, and it's a tough intersection because as you pull from Alabama and you're going into town from Cottage Sand onto Alabama and then onto 180, as you look to the right, the turn bends, and you can't really see clearly for more than 3/4 of a block. On the other side, as you look to the right, there's a median with vegetation in there, and it's hard to see through the vegetation, even though it's short and kind of sparse, to see traffic coming from the right. So my inclination when I drive through there, and I've paid attention to other drivers in front of me, is to look to the right to see if there's traffic coming, and then you pay a lot of attention to the left. And the only way to see clearly, really, to the left, to assure yourself that nobody's coming, is to continue looking to the left as you pull into the intersection. So people coming from the right, you don't see them. And I've had a couple instances where people have been speeding on Highway 180, and it's been a fairly close call of not getting hit. So I think the solution for the lights is to put the lights on on Highway 180 to warn of that intersection, and perhaps slow the traffic down as well to 30 miles an hour on Highway 180. Additionally, on Cottage Sand Road, getting back to speeding, it annoys me when people speed in residential areas. I'm generally really careful about my speed in residential areas, at least. And when I drive on Cottage Sand Road, I would guess that maybe 7 out of 10 people catch up to me, driving 30, or I might go 10% over to 33, but people still catch up to me. 1 minute. And so, as Dr. Zimmerman said, a consistent patrol there, or at least placement of police officers, even if they're doing paperwork, just to have more of a police presence there would slow people down, as it does in Bayard. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, please come forward. Please state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Swap, and I am here on behalf of the lights, and they do shine into my house, and I need my sleep, my beauty sleep. And I wish for you to remove them, because I have talked to Earl for over 10 years to fix the ditch, because where you put the lights, there will be another flood and the lights will come down, yay. But that's a loss of money. And I just want you to really think about moving also the signs, because when I'm going to work up there in the morning, the signs are angled where the sun hits, and that's even just as dangerous, and that's in the morning. And about the road on Alabama, the line has got to be moved over. I have requested and talked to Earl to move the line over, because you got the outside line way fatter than the inside line coming in. My husband and my sons drive big trucks, and they have to pull out and come in, and they have to, and the cars are right here on the line, and I have asked everybody, please pull in this way, but there's too much traffic, and I don't know everybody. So those are my concerns, because somebody's going to get hurt, and somebody's going to get run over, and it's just not safe there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Is there any further public input today? Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you very much for everybody coming and voicing your concerns, and we will see what we can do to get a committee together and probably meet with you out there. All right? Minutes. Approve or disapprove February 27, 2014 regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the February 27, 2014 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the February 27, 2014 regular meeting minutes. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Financial reports. First one is the expenditure report for March 10th, 2014. John, do you want to go through the highlights on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Appreciate that. This is the expenditure report. It's $4,430,601.82. The reason for the size of the report is because the last expenditure report was January 6th. So this includes over 2 months worth of expenditures, and it includes 4 full payrolls. As I spoke on Tuesday, some of the highlights, the large expenditures is we had a couple payments to the Southwest Solid Waste Authority for the tipping fees at the landfill. Those are approximately $35,000 each. We had our insurance that's due for our multi-line insurance, which covers our buildings and our autos. and that was $227,928.10. We also had our law enforcement insurance that covers our law enforcement as well as our detention center, and that was $265,393. And then because we chose to go out on our own and get out of the risk management pool in the state of New Mexico for our insurance, our health insurance for our employees, as part of that pool, you have to pay a 3 months of run-out fees to cover any claims that may be hanging out there that haven't been processed yet. So that was $133,806, but even by paying that fee, we're still looking at realizing greater than $100,000 savings this year on our health insurance, because in July, the state is looking at increasing it another 15% over what it was for those employees, and so we actually are a lot less to begin with at the $100,000, and then that 15% increase we won't see as well. And that's about I think our health insurance runs us close to $2.5 million a year for our employees, so 15% is a lot of money. We have our health insurance premiums to Presbyterian, who is our new health care provider. That's $148,289 a month. And then we had Pino South Fire Department purchase a brush truck for $139,473. And we had a payment on the North Hurley sewer system, where we're redoing that system and putting it into a forced system to take it into the Tri-City Wastewater Treatment Facility, and that was $156,781. And those are the major expenditures. The rest of the expenditures are normal expenditures. It's just because of the time frame that it's large.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the March 10th, 2014 expenditure report.
Second. Motion is second to approve the March 10th, 2014 expenditure report. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we're going to go through the cash flow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We have the cash flow and went through it in detail on Tuesday. I'll hit the high points for you. Under the general fund, we started out the year at $2,451,424 with revenues, expenditures, and transfers through January 31st, 2014. Our cash balance at January 31st was $3,421,997. With projected transfers, revenues, and expenditures through June 30th, 2014 of a negative $1,042,731, leaves a cash balance at June 30th, 2014 of $2,379,266, less the required reserve of $2,105,342, leaves a surplus at June 30th, 2014 of $273,924. Page 2 is our revenues, our budgeted revenues. We've collected 57.7% of the budgeted revenues by the end of January. On page 3, it is our transfers. We've done 2.98% of the budgeted transfers as of January 31st. The next is the road fund. We started the year with a cash balance of $267,657 with revenues, expenditures through January 31st. Our cash balance is a negative $277,185 with projected revenues, expenditures, and transfers through June 30th, 2014 of a positive $414,141, leaves a cash balance at June 30th, 2014 of $136,955, less the required reserve of $130,935, leaves a surplus at June 30th of $6,020. The reason why we go into the negative at the beginning of the year is because we don't do our transfers until later in the year. We transfer money from the general fund to make up for any revenues that are not done, and so that transfer will be done later on. And so we go into the negative in that fund until we make that transfer. The next is the corrections fund. We started the year at $407 with revenues, expenditures, In transfers through January 31st, 2014, the cash balance is a negative $1,057,596, with projected revenues, expenditures, and transfers through June 30th, 2014 of a positive $1,094,497, leaves a cash balance at June 30th, 2014 of $36,901. The corrections fund is the same as the road fund. We transfer money from the general fund down to that fund, and those transfers haven't happened yet. That's why we go into the negative at this point in time, and then we make a transfer. And the estimated transfer for the corrections is $1,486,153.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we approve the cash flow analysis report for January 2015.
I second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the cash flow analysis for January 2014. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item D. Ms. Gay, would you like to come give us a report on the Grant County Surveillance Program? Welcome. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Mr. Chair, other commissioners, others in attendance, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm going to report on the Grant County Surveillance Program, which has expanded into a comprehensive program which includes adult drug court clientele, magistrate clientele, and of course our juveniles. From July 1st, 2013, we've had 20 clients from magistrate court. We've had approximately 28 to 34 clients from juvenile probation. We have 24 clients from adult drug court. Last month with juveniles, we had 494 visuals, 61 attempted, total of 555 contacts. We had 13 violations, and pretty much our caseloads are down with JPO. As you know, there's been a change or turnover at the JPO, but I think we're still addressing the GPS, the monitoring, looking at alternatives to detention in lieu of holding kids in detention. I just want to add, with the magistrate clients, the judge makes a referral to our office in lieu of having them further incarcerated. So our longest magistrate court referral, he's been in the program 121 days. So the cost to the program is $4 a day to keep them on the GPS versus detainment at $72 a day. So do the math. If we do 121 days at $72 approximately, and this individual had medical issues, so of course that cost would triple, I believe. So total cost to detain him would have been $8,712 versus $484 that we've spent to keep them on the GPS. These guys are seen daily. They're on a GPS monitor. We do drug testing 3 to 4 times a week. We've asked the county to help pay for the drug testing supplies, which they have, which you all have. We actually, the budget's looking at $55,000. We do a mileage increment of $5,000, approximately $1,500 for other supplies, $2,500 for drug testing. That's year-to-date expenditures. We also have 3 male surveillance officers, 1 female surveillance officers, and then of course the town of Silver City does in-kind of $20,000 as well as the courts. So I do all the supervision of the program. We have 1 full-time surveillance officer that works through the courts, and then we have a contractual contract with the Sheriff's Department that assists in paying for surveillance as well. Are there any questions?
Do we have any questions from Mr. Gay?
Not only on the juveniles as far as detention, but then if in fact we do have to detain a juvenile, then the sheriff's office has to transport those then to Cruces, right? Or other places. And so the cost of the officer, the vehicle, and everything else. And I know when I was a judge, it was great to have where we needed to possibly release someone and we knew where they were. So good job.
Any further questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to bring up, if we have to incarcerate a juvenile for an entire month, it's running us about $4,500 per person, not including the sheriff's transportation costs. But that's what, we have one individual that, and there are some, if they commit a felony, they have to be incarcerated, and so we have one individual that was incarcerated, and that's what our bill was from the facility, was $4,500 a month. But compared to if we ran our own facility, when we looked at the cost, it would cost us roughly about $1 million to watch 8 juveniles. And so it's cheaper to do this program and to send the ones we have to out than to operate our own.
Yeah, it's definitely, it'd definitely be cost effective to have something here in the Southwest, and that's why the Southwest County Commission Alliance is really pushing to turn the Hidalgo jail into a juvenile facility. And
Where are we on that?
well, we're waiting for resolutions from the Hidalgo County Commission, and we can push it for this next legislative session.
Hidalgo needs it.
Oh yeah, they need
Got an
it.
empty jail.
They got an empty jail, and that's what they want to do. They want to try and see if they could transfer their adult inmates up here and see if we could start sending our juveniles down to their center.
Yeah. Okay, any further questions for Margaret?
I just want to add, with respect to the commissioners, thank you for all your support, but also, I just heard you have money, so I am going to request further funding for next year.
What's going to happen as soon as we complimented her that she's going to have to money. I've known her for too many years.
So maybe you'll consider...
It is budget time right now, so...
And so I'm going to request that you give us an additional $12,000, just because, we do put a lot of wear and tear on our vehicles, which the courts are providing. We have one small little vehicle. We pay mileage, wear and tear, of course, to the contractual people. But drug court's expanding. We're doing family court, we're doing grade court, and so my time alone overseeing it, which is in kind, John, I am going to request an additional $12,000, which would be $75,000 total for a Grant County surveillance program, which encompasses surveillancing juveniles, not only juveniles, but adult offenders in this community. So I thank you for your time.
Your request will be taken seriously, that's what we can tell you.
Yes, thank you. For as much money as the program's saving us, I think $12,000 is not too.
And other entities are going to be asked to up theirs.
Actually, yes, the town of Silver City has agreed to give us an additional $5,000. So, we have equity.
So why am I being asked for 12?
Well, we want a good program.
We want to match Silver City.
This might be the last time you see Mrs. Begay, so
Is she going away?
I might not allow her on the meetings anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item is approve or disapprove a letter designating Members Film LLC as the film liaison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, in your packet, we put a sample letter for you all today. And I've received from that group that they have gotten letters from Deming have been sent up already and approving them to the state to be the film liaison. The Village of Santa Clara, the Hidalgo County has done one, and then Catron County is acting on theirs. Theirs was Tuesday, so they've done one. And so most of the areas, and then the town of Silver City is supposed to be looking at doing one. I don't know if they've done it at their recent meeting, was Tuesday night, and I haven't heard if they passed a letter at that one. But most of the areas, most of the communities, the municipalities and the counties in this area have chosen this group to represent them. What this will be is it'll represent the letter that we've prepared, says that the commission will endorse these individuals for fiscal years FY14 through 16, because that's how the film office runs their film liaison every 2 years. But it also, the commission can choose to withdraw their recommendation if they chose, and if there was some issue that you were having with this group, we put in the letter that as long as the commission doesn't withdraw it, this will be our representatives, that you could send a letter saying you no longer represent these people as your film liaison. And it would be for Mr. Berge to be the film liaison and Mr. Tolhurst to be the assistant film liaison, and that was consistent with the other letters, is where we got that information. That's how the other letters from the other municipalities were written, that one is the film liaison and one is the assistant. If Mr. Berge is out, or then Mr. Tolhurst will take over for him. And I think that's how they presented it to the commission when they did their presentation.
I believe they're going to have a meeting with the staff outside of the meeting in reference to who they are, what they are, and that it's a good choice.
Yeah. No, and they've done, I mean, I think they represent, they've done their homework, due diligence, they've come forward. This is a volunteer position. They receive no money from Grant County for this, and as far as I know, they receive no money from the state. Any type of funding they may receive would be if there was a film that they got in this area, they might get some commissions off of that. I don't know. But they've really, I think they've really done their homework. They've looked at the area. They've been in the area. They know a lot of people here, so they can really represent this. Basically, I guess they're going to do the four-county area, not the tri-county area as it usually is. Luna County is also supposed to have sent a letter or acting on a letter, so it will be Luna, Grant, Hidalgo, and Catron counties. And we've all been trying to work together and become regional, and so I think this just solidifies that regional approach that we're doing down in this area to try and draw business down here.
And what's the pleasure of the commission?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the letter designating the Members Film LLC as the film liaison.
Can I second?
There's a motion, proper second, to designate Members Film LLC as the film liaison, making Mike Berry the film liaison and Glenn Tolhorst the assistant film liaison. Is there any discussion on that motion?
I did receive a call from Mr. Dan Cook expressing their concern and wanting to be the contact point. I did express to him that I'm hoping that they could all work together, being that they've been accepted by the other communities surrounding us. I think it'd be a good contact point for the Southwest, but that shouldn't stop them from working together and trying to bring the film industry to Grant County.
I agree.
Yeah. No, and I think this is the presentation that they did. They said that they would work and coordinate with the local groups to make sure that everybody is involved when they need to. It's just, this is the one point of contact. It makes it easy. The state tries to get one point of contact, whether it be emergency management or this type of thing, so that they know they can call one person instead of trying to call all the different groups and get everybody on board. That's when you end up missing opportunities.
Further discussion? I was kind of shocked you didn't have the letter from the COG there, because Priscilla had written on a letter too.
Yeah, and these are the ones they've given me.
So the COG has endorsed this group also. So, okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. Approve, disapprove intergovernmental transfer of the K-9 unit and equipment to Sierra County. Sheriff, do you have anything to add to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I don't. I presented a letter to John that was passed on to you guys.
Okay. Pleasure of the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the intergovernmental transfer of the K-9 unit and equipment to Sierra County.
Second. Motion and proper second to transfer the K-9 unit and equipment to Sierra County. Is there any discussion on that motion? Yes, John.
I just wanted to lay out that the timeline will be that now that we've got this, we've already sent a letter to the state asking for the permission to do the transfer, and the sheriff will be coordinating with the sheriff in Sierra County to transfer the equipment out of our vehicle into their vehicle, because they do have a vehicle that will accept the cage that we have for the dog, goes in the Chargers. And so it'll coordinate, so it's not going to be instantly tomorrow. We'll still board the animal for a little bit while we finish the paperwork with the state. But as soon as it's done, we'll get it transferred. We'll make sure it's done as soon as possible.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approve or disapprove the application for law enforcement protection funds for fiscal year ending 2014. Is this something the sheriff wants to go over, or you, John?
I can explain to you. This is the application. The sheriff gets law enforcement protection funds every year. Because of the size of our county, he gets $20,000 automatically, and then based on our officers, we get $600 per officer, and we have 39 officers at this time. So that's $23,400 for a total of $43,400. The sheriff has a choice to set his budget up into 5 categories. And so what he chooses to do is $33,400 is going into apparatus and equipment, and then he puts $10,000 to pay for the planning and training of his officers. And so by doing that, it helps alleviate some of the burden on the general fund that we don't have to give as much travel into his budget because he uses this for his training and travel expenses so he can get his officers trained in different aspects.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the application for law enforcement protection funds for the fiscal year ending June the 30th, 2014.
I second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the application for law enforcement protection funds. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Page 2. Resolutions. Approve or disapprove Resolution R 1409, 2014, Grant County maintained roads. This is the list of all the maintained roads in the county. They've been certified by the road superintendent and the county manager. What's the pleasure of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve Resolution R-14-09, 2014, Grant County maintained roads.
Second.
The motion is proper second to approve R 1409. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approve or disapprove Resolution R 1410. This authorizes the execution and delivery of the Colonias Infrastructure Project Fund. Anthony went over this 2 weeks ago.
Anything else, John?
No, I just want to let the commissioners know what this project is this is the monies we are awarded to do preliminary engineering report for drainage and road improvements in the North Hurley area. We've been waiting a year to get the agreement since the award. We finally received it, and this is the last step so that we can approve all the agreements. Ms. Robinson has already gone through them, and they're ready for the commission to approve so we can get going on doing that engineering report, and then possibly in future Colonias funding cycles we can go after money to do that drainage and street improvements in the North Hurley area. Now that all the infrastructure improvements have been done is what we've been waiting on for the water, the sewer, and everything else, so we're ready to redo those roads there.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve Resolution R 1410, authorizing the execution and delivery of the Colonias Infrastructure Project funds.
I second.
The motion proper second to approve R 1410. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to bids. We had a call for bid for the Cliff Fairground Exhibit Hall addition, bid number B1306. John went over it on Tuesday. The architect has given us his opinion on the third page in there.
And I'd just like to point to commissioners, and the architect's recommendation is that the bid be awarded to Miraloma, who is the low bidder, and also given us the authority to enter into negotiations because there are some cost savings in that bid. It came in a little bit higher than our budgeted amount, and so the architect has already looked at it, and then we have the ability to negotiate down, and we can get it inside our budget because there was a couple items that he didn't wish to be bid that were bid into that. So we're going to go ahead and negotiate that and do some value engineering to get the project inside of budget.
Yeah, NMSA 13.1.105B allows us to negotiate up to 10% or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
If I may, I'd like to take the privilege of making a motion to approve bid 1306 for the Cliff Fairgrounds Exhibit Hall addition. Just want to say that I appreciate the support of staff. I appreciate the support of the chair, and that the chair is on the board of the county fair.
We just attend.
And he has supported this all along, and so I appreciate all the work done, and then by Mr. Cliff also.
And want to mention Miraloma in that motion?
That you're awarded to Miraloma.
And it would be, the bid would be awarded to Miraloma Inc., Arenas Valley, New Mexico for $199,860, along with these cost saving that John talked about.
Okay.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to approve bid number B1306 for the Cliff Fairground Exhibit Hall Edition. Is there any discussion on that motion?
I'm just glad to see that there's locals putting in for these bids and a local contractor got the job. That way we keep our money here locally. I mean, that's real important for us, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, it's always kind of sketchy as to whether we get locals or not.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad we finally got them.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. At this time, we'll stand for county reports. I'm going to start today with the county manager, because I think he's going to yield some of his time away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to yield my time to Representative Martinez is here, so he can give you an update on how he spent 30 days of his life this year.
Welcome, Representative. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Ramos, and ladies and gentlemen. It was a little bit more than 30 days because appropriations we meet a week before, so that's just a warm-up. But first of all, I'd like to thank everyone, Chairman, John, Commissioner Ramos, I missed you, but thank you for being there and supporting our efforts. As you know, our budget is for the state is $6.174 billion. Of that, public education received $2.74 billion and that's for the entire state public education system. And that was an increase of $171 million. And that was above the line. That's for actual programs that are provided to the schools and to the students. Now, the state equalization also received $9 million, and that goes directly to the school districts with an additional $142 million, which was a 6% increase. Below the line, which is money used by the department as more or less discretionary, that they can use for teacher evaluations, those type of programs, the A through F schools, to assist them in getting better teachers and more advanced assistance to the students that are struggling as well as the school. The pre-K and K-3 received an additional $9.6 million. That's to assist them in getting up to the reading level that they should be. Higher education received $842 million, with an increase of $46 million. And in that, the drug court received $950,000, which is a plus for our county. The Senate Bill, excuse me, Senate Bill 313 includes $5.9 million, a $5.9 million increase, and that's to provide tuition assistance, loan assistance, and that's directed towards healthcare providers such as nursing, nurse practitioners, those type of programs. So that's pretty significant, because that's with the demands for healthcare providers is increasing, and we've seen a huge shortage of nurses, practitioners, and with this, hopefully, we can increase those numbers. The healthcare programs was Medicaid and behavioral health received 907 million. There was a decrease of 2.2 million, or 2.4%. The reason of that being is because of increased federal funds, $18.2 million in new drug rebate revenues, and $8 million savings from federal match monies. Department of Health received $307 million, up 1.6 increase, $5.2 million increase for an additional 672 infant and children, which is the FIT program. So that'll help some of the needy families with their child care and making sure that their children are taken care of. It also increased the DD waiver, which, as we know, has been a very contentious issue about the number of people that are being held in the waiting list. This will provide for about 175 additional individuals to participate and reduce the number on the list. That's a pretty brief summary of what happened and the major highlights. Every agency received an increase in their budget, pretty much like between a 2% and a 5% increase. So that's pretty much it. And I'm assuming that, John, you've already taken a look at the vetoes.
Been looking.
So, from the information I received, it looks about $30 million that the governor vetoed overall. Part of it was $15 million from the public education funding formula. And the universities were hit with a $4 million decrease or a veto of the endowment fund, which the bill that was introduced changed the way the universities could apply for endowment funding. It was based on a percentage basis prior years. The bill that was introduced was to change that process and make it a competitive bid process. So, you have UNM, New Mexico State, New Mexico Tech, and then you have the other universities, which, in my opinion, is not very competitive because these universities have staff, they have people that work on this all the time, so. And then $5 million from the lottery. I'd like to thank Chairman and John for being up there. There was another item that was of great importance to our community and to 29 other hospitals across the state as a sole community provider. And, thank you for working with the Association of Counties, finally coming up with a reasonable, it's not beneficial to all, but it's a reasonable solution to the problems we have with a sole community provider. I believe the counties finally settled on a 112% or 1/12. Yes, gross receipts, and then the other funding coming from the state, and then also from HSD. So
Let's just see if they follow through with their promise.
that's correct. 'Cause looking at vetoes, I didn't come across anything that would affect that sole community provider. So that should be an advantage to the smaller hospitals. There was conversation of some of the hospitals opting out, and because of their size, they're able to provide for their own, but still it places a bigger burden on the smaller hospitals. On a positive note, there was a 3% increase for state employees, and an additional increase for the attendants. They're not substitute teachers anymore, they're attendants, which is a good thing. One of the bills that I carried is the water resources. It was a bill that I carried for New Mexico State. The bill is going to include all universities across the state. They're going to gather all the information that has been provided over the years for hydrological testing across the state, and also provide a comprehensive report on where we stand in reference to our waters by conducting the hydrological testing across the state. So that's going to be a good tool that will provide exactly where we stand with the waters. And this is not including the surface waters. So those are some of the things that that we did, as far as capital outlay monies, City Beard received $234,000. That's for some of their water lines improvements. Hurley received $100,000 for their cemetery improvements, $125,000 for renovations of the swimming pool. Santa Clara received $174,000 for the water system improvements. Silver City received $125,000 to finish off their baseball and soccer fields, and then $105,000 for ambulances that they're going to replace some of their units. Grant County received $225,000 for building improvements. $100,000 of that was a reauthorization of funding that we had appropriated for a project out at Fort Beard, which is kind of seemed to come to a stall. And then the Veterans Memorial received $150,000. This should complete the final phase of their project that they have going out there. The university received $100,000 for the information technology. They also received about $5 million for capital improvements, and about $500,000 for to raise the base. A couple years ago, for some reason, the university lost about $1.7 million as far as their master's program. We weren't able to completely bring back that money, but this is something that we need to continue working on. So that's a brief summary of what we did. Most of the time that we spent up there was very slow, up until the last few days. To fill in the gap, we passed quite a few memorials, and some of them are positive. One of the memorials was to create a task force to provide a system for veteran-owned businesses so they can take a, right now it's sitting at, they don't know if it's 4, 7, or 10%. So with this task force, they can determine exactly what kind of deduction the veterans can take. There was another bill, or another memorial to create a licensure process for recreational therapists. They're not licensed at this point. So it seems to be a safety issue. People that are not certified as recreational therapists can apply for any position that comes open. So other than that, it's really, again, an honor to have been able to represent Grant County, and certainly appreciate the support from you. So at this point, if there's any questions,
Is there any questions for the representative? Yes, John.
I just wanted to thank the representative. I mean, he works, being on the House Appropriations, he's able to help us get things through, because when we sat there this year, everything got stalled as soon as it got to, if it had any appropriation attached to it, it was just dying. They weren't even hearing it. It was being tabled, and the representative was instrumental in getting anything that affected this region, finding ways to push it through and get it out of House Appropriations, because if you can't get it out of there, you never get to the floor to get to a vote to get across. And so he was instrumental being on that committee, helping us get things out and get it through, and it's great to have him there, because he realizes, he's from the area, he realizes what we need to do, and he's always thinking of the best interest of the citizens down here when he's doing his work up there, and working till, there were some nights till midnight or later. It seemed like we were there all the time hearing hearings, and the senator was always there, never missed. He was, the representative was there, never missed, and I didn't see him at many of the functions outside of it, because he was always there working, trying to make sure that bills were going to get through. So I appreciate everything he did, gives up his family, everything. His daughters have to go see him up there if they want to see him, because we run into him in the halls. That's the only way he gets to see family, is they come and see him at the roundhouse, because he never gets to leave. And so I appreciate it, and gets nothing for it. Doesn't get paid.
I also would like to just say thank you for all you do. You're always just a phone call away, and we appreciate when we call you. You're always prompt and call us back as soon as you can. So we really do appreciate that, and it's good to work together. Thank you.
Yeah, just thank you. You're there for us. You're there for the citizens and the communities of this area, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much.
And I guess for me, I'm kind of a statistical kind of guy. I'm always looking at numbers, but Representative Martinez may be the most effective representative in Santa Fe as far as bills introduced to bills passed ratio. And that includes the entire state. When he takes a hold of something, he follows it through, he bulldogs it all the way through. And for me, I really appreciate all the help and mentorship you give us up there when we're up there fighting for the issues for the county. So thanks for coming. Thanks for giving us a rundown. We'll stay on that Senate Bill 268 and make sure our hospital's funded properly. Thank you for helping us with our capital outlay and all those smaller communities also. So if you have anything to close, or else?
No, other than, there was one disappointment. We had, Senator Morales and I had set aside some funding to help the volunteer center, and that was one of the first vetoes that she took. So unfortunately, we don't seem to recognize the needs and how much the volunteer center helps the community by providing the backpack program, the food distribution that they provide to the needy families. So that was a disappointment. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but still just the fact that there was no consideration taken for the use of that money. And we'll give it another shot.
There you go. There's always another year.
But again, thank everybody for being so supportive, and believe me, when you folks come up there and visit with us, it's really short of a godsend, but I really appreciate it. Well, my office is your office, so you can take over.
It's red again.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John, do you want to finish, or you just want to? All right, Sheriff.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, just the concern that the citizen had earlier in regards to speeding on Cottage Sand, I will make sure we take care of that concern.
I was going to ask you, would you serve on that committee to go out there? Okay.
I've got his name down.
All right.
I also want to encourage the public, if they are having issues in regards to anything in their communities in the county, just to please let us know, and we'll get services out there to help. Actually, the guys have been out doing quite a bit, and I commend them for what they do, but I do listen to the concerns from the public, so I'm just a phone call away, and I will look into what their concern is. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. Madam Assessor, do you have anything to add to Tuesday? No? Mr. Clerk, did you have anything going on this week?
We did, a little bit. We had a pretty successful sign-up day on Tuesday. For County Commissioner District 1, we had Moses Clark as a Democrat, along with current Commissioner District 1, Gabriel Ramos, signing up. There was a Republican, on the Republican side, there was Jack Vermillion that signed up. For County Commission District 2, only one gentleman put his hat in the ring, and that was our chairman, Brett Caston. Thank you for running, Mr. Caston. For Grant County Assessor, we had two individuals sign up on the Democratic side, and that was Raul Prieta and our current Assessor, Mary Guthrie. There was also a Republican that signed up as well, and that was Mrs. Lucy Whitmarsh. For Grant County Sheriff, we had one on the Democratic side, and that's our current Sheriff, Mr. Raul Villanueva. We had two sign up on the Republican side, and that was Raymond Davison Jr. and Charles Cassidy. That's Butch Cassidy for most of you guys that don't know that that's his real name. We had one person sign up for our probate judge here in our building. That was Velia. She's our current probate judge, so she's running unopposed. We had also signing up in our office were Magistrates Division 1 and 2 in Division 1, which is here in Silver City. Maureen Laney is running, and she will run unopposed. And Magistrate Judge Division 2, which is the buildings over, their office is over in Baird. We had Lonnie Sandoval sign up on the Democratic side, as well as Hector Grijalva. At our next meeting, I'll start sending out dates when early voting begins, when the actual vote day is. Our links will be up so they can get absentee applications off our website and all of those good things. Other than that, if you have any other questions for me, that's all I have.
Any questions for Rob? Okay. Commissioner?
Well, as always, thank you. And I'd like to welcome my opponent, Mr. Moses Clark, if you'd like to say a few words. Be more than happy to listen to you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I kind of put me a little bit nervous, sorry. I'd just like to say it's going to be nice to be able to run for Grant County Commissioner. I'd like to serve Grant County and Silver City to the best of my ability. I don't really know what else to say quite yet. So, anyway, thank you.
Looking forward for a good, clean race.
Yes.
All righty. Well, I do have something to talk about. I've been called by several people from the hospital, and we are looking into, what they're calling about. They're calling about maybe they're calling about the hospital wanting to outsource the business office. I'm looking into it. I don't know if there's any truth to it. I do want to say that I do not support any outsourcing whatsoever. I would like to see more consulting come in to correct for efficiency versus outsourcing, if there's any truth to it at all. I just like to express that is the way I feel. I've always been pro-labor, and we definitely need to keep our local labor working for us. I would definitely not be supporting any outsourcing, and I will be contacting our hospital board and express that to them. That's all I've got.
Commissioner?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to congratulate also Senator Morales for the meeting that he's got back, statewide meeting on the primary, #1 in the state. And so he'll be #1 on the ballot, so I want to congratulate him. This has been, I told John earlier, I think we were joking about this. I think one of the commissioners here has told everyone in the county that I handle roads. I do not. There's other people in the county who handle roads. But I've been inundated with road calls and stuff, and of course, me being the good commissioner and understanding the procedure that we have, I give them all to John. Right?
Yep, I give them their own.
You give them their own. No, it's been an issue, and it's something we need to look into, and I've already told John my feeling on the yellow lights. Take them down, put them out on the state highway. If they think it's so important to have them, we'll put them out on the state highway. We don't need them. We got a great sheriff's office. They know how to take care of things like that, put it in their hands. They'll come up with some signage ideas and enforcement and stuff, and we can handle it. And that's how I feel about that. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I want to thank you guys for all your work and the staff.
Go ahead. On the yellow lights, just like, my understanding is right now they're not on. They've been set up. Mr. Moore went out and tested them at night to see how bright they would be, and he turned them off, and they have not been running, and he's working with those citizens in that area, as the gentleman reported. He's been really working good with them and trying to see if there's another location, trying to see if there's some more signage. They've got kind of a plan on what they're going to do. It's just when they did a study of that area, they found that there has been accidents in that area, and there are a lot of children in that area, and that's what they're trying to do, is just trying to find ways to get people to slow down, because the sheriff's office can't always be there. We have so many officers that go throughout the entire county, and And so we're just trying to make that neighborhood a little safer, not trying to upset anybody or decrease property values, just trying to make sure everybody's safe. So he is working with them, but they're currently, to my understanding, they're not running right now, so they're just up.
I think my suggestion to you guys, and it's Commissioner Hall's district, but would be to probably have John and Commissioner Hall and Sheriff Villanueva, Earl and Anthony, get with those people, show them the reports. You may want to have a meeting here so they can all do the paperwork, and then go out there and actually look at the situation, because I heard some other things that we may need to look at, that the road's eroding, that there may be a realignment option that we could look at in the future, some other things. So I think if you did that, then we would probably be able to make all parties more happy.
Yeah.
Maybe not happy, but more happy.
Yeah.
More happy. So, more happy. And just to close, I want to thank all the people in my district who, my constituents, really had a lot of confidence in me. I feel as though that's why they chose not to run an opponent against me. And I will continue to do the best job to my ability. It takes a lot of courage to step up and run for public office. Moses, I applaud you for doing that. Rudy, I applaud you for doing that. Gabriel, I applaud you for doing that. Mary, Raul, you guys, everybody that ever signs up, you have no clue how hard it is when you walk in that room and you throw your private life into the public. And I just want to wish all the candidates the best of luck. Have fun. Keep it clean. And in November, we'll know who's who. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.